Hey everyone, I'm Harsh Tapadia, the co-founder and CEO of Allstacks. I'm really happy to have you here for part 2 of our People, Process, and Outcomes report on COVID-19 and the state of software development, this time with number 3 of 4 very nearly identical shirts, and hopefully you'll see the 4th one next time. So to get started, previously we covered the impacts of the work from home transition on how people were working and how that may be affecting their productivity. This time, we're going to focus in on process and how processes are changing in the face of COVID-19 and the work from home transitions. So today we'll cover how processes have been affected and a few key points. Did productivity change? What's different about throughput? How is our coding behavior changing? Are the tools enabling collaboration in any way? And finally, how you can support your team, which is where we always close with. So let's take a look at process. So first off, what does cycle time look like? Well, the thing we can see across the board is that cycle time has actually remained pretty steady. There has been actually even a slight trend downwards, which is really encouraging to see. That even in the face of this upending upheaval and this transition, we're still seeing people being able to do their work relatively predictably and efficiently, and even make gains. If we look at that a little more closely though, we can see some really interesting trends. So we're actually seeing organizations lean in to their processes and better adhering to their processes. So what we're looking at here is that when we look at stories going through our various lifecycle stages, what we would often see previously is that people would start working, they'd forget to update a card or something, and then they'd just move it to complete when they were done. But with the transition without our face-to-face, there's actually being an adherence to the process. We're seeing people run those processes more granularly. And we've seen an overall uptick in more transitions, more updates to these cards so that people can better keep up and better track how things are going. And similarly, we're also seeing this reduction in face-to-face time is increasing these tool-based communications, which actually are helping foster collaboration in the remote environment. We're seeing more comments on stories. We're seeing more discussions in context rather than maybe in the hallway or just in random channels in Slack. On the code side, it's pretty similar. We're seeing a pretty steady number of commits. Commit frequency has remained consistent overall. But what's really cool is that commit size has actually decreased overall. This could be attributed to distractions while working from home. So we're juggling a lot of things. We're handling things like childcare and schooling. We're handling our pets and just this change of environment. And we think that's actually causing people to commit more frequently in smaller commits and decrease in their larger commits. And so although the overall number of commits in general has stayed about the same, we are seeing more of that happen in the smaller commits, which actually is a better process overall, and that is improved behavior. The one thing that we are seeing on the other side of that is that, as we saw in the first phase where we're seeing people's schedules kind of change and become more volatile, we are seeing a lot more volatility in the time from that first commit to the open PR. Now, this could be because we're seeing these smaller commits scattered through the day. And so we're seeing these shifts up and down, but there is that volatility. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And what we're actually seeing on the other side of it is a % increase in the number of comments on the merged PRs. So as we saw a lot more comments on discussions on stories in your project management tool, we're also seeing a lot more discussion in code review and commentary on the code itself as these teams are leaning into their tools to foster this remote collaboration. So all that being said, how can we support our team? Well, make up for these volatile schedules and support people's ability to work in this environment by leveraging your tooling. Really encourage leaning into these tools, fill in the face-to-face gaps, present that communication in context, comment directly on the story, comment directly on the PR, use those tools to help people stay aligned. And all that effort will actually keep better records anyways. And where you see friction those, you'll have opportunities to naturally improve those processes without having to change them whole hog. You can work on them piecemeal. And as you focus on where the outcomes are starting to slip, you can see how process can help discover all the little things that are slipping through the cracks. So instead of getting to this place where we're really worried about the big improvements, this is where we can make a lot of small improvements that'll actually net out and better impact the organization. So this is a little bit about process. Next time we'll be talking about outcomes and how actual software delivery is changing now that we understand kind of how processes change and people have changed. Again, I'd like to invite you to participate in the story. We can capture all your historical data and help you understand where you stand relative to all this. So if you'd like to be included, please contact us at codereport@allstacks.com. Thanks again.